Waiting to show that it recorded. Well, welcome everyone. My name is Jeanmarie and I work at BayCare Health System. I am an exercise physiologist and a clinical health coach. And I also help to go out to companies and help bring wellness to their employees and to the community. And this topic of moments to health is something that is near and dear to my heart. It is my passion project. I even have a shirt that has movement snacks on it, which we'll be talking about in a little bit. My goal, my passion in life is to help people take that next tiny little step down the path of well-being, the path that they choose and that's going to fit best with their lives. So as I welcome you all here and thank you for being here, I want to talk about where real change comes from. Real change rarely starts with big promises and dramatic plans. It starts with one small, doable step. Something so manageable that success is inevitable. There's no way you could fail. You know that you can complete this. You know that you can move forward with this. When we take actions we know we can complete, we build trust within ourselves, and we then trust that that foundation for that change is going to be lasting. So instead of trying to fix everything at once, we want to start layering new habits onto each other, onto ones that we already have. So one healthy choice added to an existing routine, one moment of awareness in the middle of your normal day. These are small actions, but they add up quickly and they help to shape who we are becoming and help to guide us to the path that we want to be in. So progress does not need to be fast to be real. We need to be moving slowly and steadily, and that's going to give us a chance for the change to stick. So one step at a time is so much stronger than trying to leap forward where we often fall backwards. So that's what today is all about, is these small moments that are going to help support your health all year long. I want to show you one of my little favorite lists here. So what this has, it's showing just some small little things that we can blend into our life, and it's going to come back up later on again. But how are things that we can add as a moment in our day that doesn't have to add more to our plate and weigh us down more, but that actually exist where we are and what we're doing already? So we need to drink water. We need to move our body. We need to get better quality sleep, and we're going to have someone later this year talking about that again. We need to make sure that we're eating real food. We need to put our phone down and stop doom scrolling all the time. Doesn't mean we can't use social media and we can't use our phones, but we need to kind of regulate that a little bit. We need to get outside. We need to make sure we're breathing well and correctly. We need to stand up. You see that I've got movement in there twice. It's one of my favorites. We want to be consistent. And the last one I think is really important on my fun little list of doable changes is laughter. Because that is so important to individuals, to both our mental and our physical health. It has been found to reduce stress, increase our feelings of happiness and well-being, and it helps to even reduce depression and anxiety. So it's not necessarily going to fix all your problems, but by incorporating these in and by getting that laughter, we're going to be moving the needle towards the positive. So, like I said, we will see these again. So as we look at moments of health, we think about making these changes. We often believe we need to do something big to see a big result. And we tell ourselves we have to change everything at once. It's January, New Year's resolutions, but they don't really succeed very well. I think most of us who have tried some big New Year's resolutions find that by the end of January, and if not by February, we've kind of fallen off that habit and have gone back into our old ways. So if we want to do things, our habits and our routines and who we are, instead of being overwhelmed and giving up before we really even begin, we want to make lasting change and we want to start small. So doing that doable step, looking at my list earlier, and I'm going to challenge you at the end to think about maybe one of those that speaks to you, something that you feel confident you can succeed at, or something I talk about during this talk. And I want you to think about a scale of 1 to 10. 1 being there's no way that I'm going to be able to do this, and 10 means this is easy peasy, I'm going to be able to do this no problem. As a health coach, this is one of the things I use often when I'm working with people trying to set goals and figure out where they need to be. If you feel like you're at a 2, a 3, or a 4, you are not going to be successful in this task, and maybe we need to rethink this goal so we can design it to be something that you'll be more successful with. But if you decide that you're going to try and do something, let's just say have a glass of water every morning when you wake up and you go, I got about an 8 or a 9 out of 10 there that I can be successful in that, then that's something that you probably will be successful with. Your brain is not going to resist it. And when you succeed with that goal, that success builds trust within yourself. And your body goes, ooh, I can do that. And that trust builds momentum. So you're taking this one little step, and pretty soon you turn around and you look back to everything you've accomplished, and your body's like, wow, I was able to do all those things, and it helps you to continue going and making those changes that you can do. So instead of overhauling your life and changing everything going on, let's take what already exists and see where we can do some small tweaks, where we can maybe change just a little bit, take that tiny step. Like I said, have a glass of water in the morning, or before you have your cup of coffee, maybe have a glass of water. Before you start to react to something, or before you get on a phone call, or before you go in front of a group to do a talk, take a couple of deep breaths that you're getting that oxygen through your system. If you're thinking about brushing your teeth at night, because that's something you do all the time already, maybe you're going to do a little movement snack that I show you as you're brushing your teeth, so it's kind of layering into all you have. They may seem insignificant, but small movements to an already routine existing, so if you already have an existing routine and you add small little things to it, it doesn't seem like you're heaping a lot more onto your plate, and it's helping you to make that change. Because health and growth is not an all or nothing kind of situation. One good choice does not erase a hard day, and one hard day does not erase good progress. It's that consistency. It's understanding that sometimes we're going to be fabulous, and other days maybe we have a hard time staying on the path, or we take a big detour. We can always come back to it. And when we have confidence knowing that we can be successful, even if we teeter a little bit, that helps us to be more successful. Because confidence comes first before any intensity comes. So finding that stability, finding that you can build on one to another, that's how change lasts. That's how we're going to be able to make these things. So don't ask what's the biggest change I can make today. When I coach with people, my first thing I ask them is, what is the smallest, most doable step that you can take today to move forward on your path? And that's where we want to go today, is finding these moments of health that weave into our already existing day so it doesn't feel like I'm being loaded down. So I love this concept called a snack. And it started when I used to do movement snacks, which we're going to get into in a minute. We all kind of think about what a nutritional snack is. You know, during the day, I grab something to eat because I need a little energy. It's a quick bite to fuel our system. Well, that's kind of what a movement snack and a mental snack are. That movement snack is that short burst of a simple movement that's just going to help to spark all the good stuff that happens there. And then a mental snack is something that gives my nervous system a little bit of a reset. If I'm feeling a little anxious or I'm feeling a little frustrated, it's going to help to kind of bring me back to center. So I want to do these small intentional actions that are going to help support my health. And we're going to kind of play with those. And I showed you that list in the beginning. I'm going to spend most of my time talking about movement snacks and how we can add those, and mental snacks and how those can help. Because they're easy, they're short, they're designed to fit into real life. You don't need any special clothes, no equipment. All you need to do is be able to do. So a movement snack. And like I said, I even have it written on my clothing. I have a couple of these because I think that they're so important. A movement snack is about 10 seconds to 10 minutes of movement where you build into your day. It helps you to repair what might be going on. We are born with this big, beautiful sphere of function around us. We have 360 degrees. Imagine you're standing in a big beach ball. As we age, as we sit at our desk, as we sit at a car, as we scroll on our phone, our posture kind of collapses a little bit. And sometimes our range of motion starts to decrease. So I'm not able to get out into that beautiful sphere the way I used to. So I want to be choosing to do things that are going to help me to increase that sphere, because that helps to improve my circulation in my body. It reduces some stiffness and tension that I might be holding on to. It helps me to have better energy and focus so I'm more accurate and clearer and do a better job at work. It helps to support my emotional well-being because it clears out a lot of the stress hormones when I pump oxygen and nutrients to the body. And it helps to signal the body that it's safe because, again, we're calming some of those stressors that come from anxiety. So when our cortisol levels start to go up because our amygdala is getting fired. So just a quick little look at this. For a movement snack, when you're choosing what to do, we want to counterbalance what we're doing too much of. And I guarantee you there are very few people that don't spend a little too much time during their day sitting. So we have that kind of forward flexion. Gravity in life is pulling us forward, so we tend to have that forward flex position. So we need to do things that are going to help move us in other directions. And those other directions are backwards, we can go left and right, and then we can rotate. So we can go side to side so that we all of a sudden build that sphere of motion, and we're going to do something in a motion. We also want to do things that are going to help us do what we need to do. So if I need to be able to reach up, if I have to move paper from one place to the other, if I have to pick up my child or my grandchild, what are the things that I need and want to do? Do I want to go out and play tennis? Do I want to run a marathon? What is it that I need to do? So my movement snacks should also help me do the things that I want to do. And again, they're simple. You don't need to have any special clothes. If you are a stiletto heel wearer, I just maybe say maybe you take those off. But other than that, we're just thinking about moving around. Now, a joke I say is, I like sound effects, so I'm going to show you some motions, and I'm going to explain why the sound effects are fun and important. But just so you can feel a quick little movement snack, I'm going to ask you if you can stand up or sit at the edge of your chair, and if you're able to, put your hands above your head. If not, you can bend the elbows if that's too much, or you can just cross your arms at your chest if above the head hurts. We're going to move front and back, so we're going to go whoosh, 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 whoosh. And as I'm doing that, my hips are moving. I can feel the weight on my feet. Then we're going to go left to right. And we're moving those hips as if I'm kind of bumping into a door frame. And then bring the hands down to shoulder height, and we're going to rotate, but we're going to start the turn from our pelvis. So the pelvis is what's turning us, and we'll go awesome. That was a quick movement snack. We just rocked our body front, back, side, side, and rotated, so we touched the different directions I could go in. I like to add the sound effects for a couple of reasons. One is it tends to make people giggle, and I told you in the beginning, laughter is important. But even more than that, the sound effects make you kind of remember it. Later on when you leave this talk, you will remember the crazy sounds that that lady made on the screen as you were moving front and back, and it'll probably bring a little smile to your face again. And the last one, which we're going to address in a couple of minutes, is I'm also creating vibration of your vocal cords. And as that's happening, I'm actually triggering your vagus nerve. And that vagus nerve helps to put us in a more calm state. So making those sound effects, as silly as they are, actually help to put you into a more positive, more restful state as you're doing it. So we just kind of moved our arms from side to side and around. So that showed you the directions you are doing. Now that is not the only movement snack you can do. It's just something easy to kind of get the visual for it. I'm going to do two more quick little movement snacks with you. But again, there's no limit to it. Your imagination can come up with it. Another one that I really like, again, for the thoracic spine, which is this upper part of our body, because that holds a lot of stress, and you can be sitting or standing with this, is to take your left hand and bring it across your body and put your right hand above your head, and you can then take the hand above your head, and we're going to just go over the top like we did before, so that whoosh, 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 whoosh. Nice. And then hang out here, and then we'll rotate. And now for fun, do both together. Awesome. And you'll notice I'm doing 2, 3, 4. I'm not even counting. There is no magic to the number 10. We just want to do something that's going to create some circulation. This tends to hold a lot of tension. This loosens it up. So now we'll take our right hand across, our left hand up, and we'll go over the top a couple of times. Hang out there and rotate. And you don't have to do the sound effects all the time. And then both together. Beautiful. So that should have felt nice. So you could type in the chat if it felt good, if you'd like to say that. But what that did was it released reduce the stress in the thoracic spine. We tend to be hunched over, and what we did was we kind of loosened everything up, so we created this big flow of oxygen to the working muscles. It also sent a lot of oxygen and nutrients to our brain, and then it helped to clear out waste products. So anything that's building up inflammation, if maybe you've had some strains and sprains, it's kind of helping you to feel better with there. The last one I want to kind of talk you through, because unfortunately with this screen and us not being live, is you can't really see me, is to be able to do steps. So we all know what a lunge is. And when I talk in a group, I usually see a lot of eye rolls and like, I hate doing lunges, because people think about these ginormous steps. We're doing 3-inch lunges today. So we all know, if we think about our directions, we're going to step forward with one foot and then back. Step forward with the other foot. That one's pretty easy to do. I can get that without a problem. The other one is we can step backwards, and I like to talk about making sure that you bring your assets into this one. We want our glutes to be really involved, so as you step back, it's a tiny step, and you push your hips as if you're trying to get your butt past your heel, and then you come back. So it's step and just kind of push the glutes back. You might feel that in the hamstrings and in your glutes. So that's a forward and a back, doing 2 of each. The next one, imagine you're in a door frame. We're going to take our right foot and we're going to step right and bump the hip to the door frame. Come on back. Our left foot, step and bump. So you're just kind of letting your hips slide. Same thing we did with the arms. Now we're just having the foot move in that direction. So we went same side, now we're going to go opposite side. This one's a little more challenging. If you do have a balance problem, you can hold on to something. Maybe if you're in the door frame, you hold on to the door frame, but you're going to take your right foot and you're going to cross it over to your left side and then come back, and then you'll go the other direction. This one is so important to build balance, and I'm sure everyone on this call is about 22 to 23 years old. We know we have great balance now, but as we age, we want to make sure that we keep that balance. So if we start working on it now, we're not trying to figure out how to all of a sudden regain balance as we get older. It also is really helpful for our hips and healthy knees. So we're just crossing the foot over, kind of like you got to go to the bathroom and you're holding your legs across. So we went forward and back, and then we went same side and opposite side. Now we're going to do which is rotation. And this is where it comes from the pelvis. A lot of people out there may have heard, oh, you should never rotate. Yes, you don't want to rotate of the spine, because that's just the little vertebrae sitting on top of each other. And if you're grinding into your spine, that can be very stressful. But if you think about your pelvis, and that's what's turning you, so put your hands on your pelvis and take a foot and step as if you're going 45 degrees over. Kind of like my husband wants something over here, so I'm going to head this way. Or my kids want something over here, and I'm going to head this way. But the turn starts from the pelvis. And turn. Very nice. This also helps us with our balance, and as we've all seen, those of you who might be the gray-haired level of me, in the Carol Burnett days, where Mr. Huygens did the little 32-point turn to be able to turn around. By being able to take a nice step and transfer our weight, we're going to have much smoother turns. And then the last one I'm going to show you, if you're a basketball player, it's blocking out. If you're a dancer, it's kind of like a cha-cha. And if none of that speaks to you, think about stepping on a bug in the corner. You're going to have your feet in front of you, and you're going to take the foot and turn towards the opposite side. So you're just going to take that hip, and you're going to turn to the opposite side. And turn, turn, and turn. Those are just a couple of little simple things. Let's say I just got off a phone call. I was a little stressed out. I'm going to stand up and I'm just going to rock my body in the 3 directions. Front, back, side, side, rotate. I can sit back down. It takes less than 30 seconds. I just finished a big task at work. I've been working on the computer for a while. I kind of got that brain fog of, you know what? I'm just going to do a couple of these each direction, kind of wiggle out and sit back down. Took less than 10 seconds. But you got a big flush of oxygen and nutrients through your system. So there is no magic in the number 10. The thought is, what am I doing too much of? Let me move somewhere that I'm not that go in that direction. What do I want to be better at? Because when I do that, I'm going to be getting better circulation. Again, it's going to reduce that stiffness. People talked about how it made you feel a little bit better. Make some silly noises, even at work. There is one group within BayCare that every time I walk past their department, they jump up and tell me, we're doing our movement snacks, and then they all get up and make sound effects for me. So it makes me giggle a lot. So it's just something fun. You gotta move, and it doesn't matter what it is, where you are. You don't need any equipment. The best piece of equipment you have is your body. And the best thought is you get to choose. You can figure out what you like to do. It might be I get on a phone call and I just do some step backwards, or while I'm on the phone, I cross my feet to each direction, just so I'm getting some circulation, being able to get more movement. While I'm brushing my teeth, instead of doing the steps, maybe I'm toe touching or non-toe touching to get a little balance. It's up to you where you want to go. Next thing is a mental snack. A lot of us feel a lot of stress all the time, and mental stresses are real. But stress isn't just mental, it's also physical. You know, even before I got on this call today, I had the little butterflies in my tummy. I could feel a little anxiety in my body because I'm like, ooh, I got to get up and talk in front of a bunch of people. So our nervous system responds before we even consciously feel stressed. A lot of times when we feel stress, our body, all of a sudden the gut might shut down. We might be frustrated. Maybe we're having a little bit of stress and anxiety, and our amygdala gets fired. And amygdala is where we kind of release all that cortisol. And when cortisol gets released, everything kind of shuts down. All of these things are not a weakness that we have this stress. What it is, it's information. It's our nervous system communicating to us. And we need to start figuring out what those messages are so that we know how to respond to them. And the more we start to become in tune with the little messages, these random sensations that we think, we find out are not so random anymore. They're actually great data and messages that allow me to help to self-regulate who I am and how I interface with the world in front of me. And when I can start doing these little mental snacks to be able to gain that strength, it allows me not to feel so weighed down, bogged down by things that happen in the day, because we're learning to notice things. We're gaining insight. And then before stress takes over and I allow all those stress hormones to come out, which also affect my body, and they turn off my prefrontal cortex so I can't really think clearly. They up my blood sugar, they up my blood pressure, so I'm getting damage to all of my little delicate organs. I'm going to be more aware, so I'm going to be able to regulate better. The mental snacks help us to shift out of the stress mode and make us have more clarity. It helps us to have a few moments of intentionality. So whether it's an intentional breath, a stretch, or some kind of a grounding activity, it can help to reset the nervous system. So I like to kind of introduce here the gut-brain axis. I think most people have now heard about your gut being such an important part of your nervous system. So as we look at the mental snacks, let's take a look at this, because it's not just metaphorical, it is actual biology. And again, I have a master's degree in physiology, so I'm a huge nerd about the biology part of it. And it's this conversation that is constantly happening between our gut and our brain. And our gut has its own nervous system. There will be no test at the end, but it is called your enteric nervous system, your ENS, and it's called that second brain, and it has over 1 million neurons. There are more neurons in your gut than there are in your spinal cord. And this system is constantly sending information to our brain about what's happening in the body. And the brain is constantly sending information to the gut about what it's perceiving is going around us. So we've got this two-way communication going, which is part of the vagus nerve. And if you remember, I mentioned the vagus nerve earlier. The vagus nerve is one of our 12 cranial nerves, and it starts in the brain, and it's called the wandering nerve because it comes down past our throat and all of the vocal cords, down into our torso. It goes to our lungs and our heart, all the way through our gut, to our kidneys, and all the way down to our pubic floor. So it touches pretty much everything through our torso, and it's sending that communication. It's giving those responses. And when I can help the vagus nerve to feel like it has tone, so I'm clicking it on, my body goes into more of a rest and repair state. So when I was making those sound effects and I was vibrating my vocal cords, I was stimulating the vagus nerve, and that was signaling my vagus nerve that I am in a safe place, that this is a good place to be, because that information is constant. So it's either telling me I'm safe and calm, which is when I'm doing that vagus nerve, or it's saying I'm alert and I'm threat and I either need to fight or flight, which means that amygdala is being fired and it's sending out those stress hormones. So there's a lot of neurotransmitters that are getting created in our gut. So you've heard of serotonin and dopamine and GABA. All of those play a huge role in our mood, our motivation, and our relaxation. So when we can do these little mental resets, we can help to allow our mood to follow. So when we can turn our gut feelings off, that we're not always sending out that alert, alert, alert signal, we can all of a sudden start to feel more safe. And our digestive improves, our feeling of calmness improves, and all of this helps to support that calm mind and more of a well-being feeling. So we can weave these mental snacks into our day, just like our movement snacks. And hint, hint, we can do some of them at the same time. We're going to have a big heavy hitter into our overall well-being as we layer these in through our day. Because I'm not asking you to take 30 minutes here, 20 minutes here. I'm saying 10 seconds here, 2 minutes here, maybe 10 minutes before lunch when you go take a walk. And all of a sudden, by the end of the day, I have layered in a whole lot of stuff to my day that's going to help improve. Just wanted to give another quick visual for you, because I know me pointing my fingers up and down might have not have, with that autonomic nervous system, which is my sympathetic and my parasympathetic nervous system. The sympathetic is that speed up, prepare for action. We need that. It's important. We just don't want it in control all the time, because our body feels stressed then. It feels anxious. It feels on alert all the time. But when we can also be able to tap into that parasympathetic, then we slow down. It supports recovery because we're connecting the brain, the heart, the lungs, and the guts. So slow, deep breaths as a non-mental health clinician are probably one of the best things that we can do to help to trigger that vagus nerve and help us to influence our overall well-being. I do an entire class on breathing because many people breathe up into their shoulders, and we use our neck muscles to lift our rib cage up and down, which means we're breathing up in our chest. When we do that, we're doing, because we take 20,000 breaths a day, 20,000 shoulder shrugs, which is why we tend to hold a lot of tension in our shoulders, especially if you're a chest breather. The other thing is it's only breathing into the top quarter of our lungs instead of getting deep down into the bottom of our lungs. So I like to encourage people to put their hands down along where your rib cage is, makes that little V, so it has that scoop. And when you take a breath in through your nose, you want to think about those ribs expanding. And then we're going to pull that oxygen all the way down to the very bottom of our lungs. So we're getting clean oxygen, fresh oxygen, none of that stale air. And then as we exhale, again through our nose, we're able to expel all of the waste product and the carbon monoxide and all of that out into the system. So there's a lot of different breaths out there, and again, you can go onto the internet and find some. What we want to work on today is just this very simple inhale, exhale, where you exhale for twice as long as your inhale. And that brings yourself to a calm state. If you are feeling really sleepy and you need to kind of wake yourself up, flip it. Breathe in for twice as long as you exhale, and that's more of an excitatory kind of response. But most of us, when we're in a situation, we're looking to de-escalate, to calm, to relax for a second, maybe to be able to fall asleep. So I just want you to sit comfortably. We're breathing in and out through our nose, because when we breathe too much through our mouths, we dry our mouths out, and it can cause gum issues, which then can lead to other health issues. So it's good to start learning how to breathe in and out through your nose. So when you take some mindful breaths, it's good to practice with this. I'm going to ask you just to breathe in 4 counts. So 4, 3, 2, 1. And now exhale for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. How did that feel? How many of you were really good at breathing in for 4, but then as you were exhaling, when I got to around 6, you were like, I have no air left. Let me just hold my breath till you get to 0. It is a skill you need to practice to be able to seep air out slowly. Most people just exhale. They don't think about how can I slowly regulate that coming out. This is one of the big ways to stimulate that vagus nerve, is to get that exhalation long and slow. I like people to practice this at night in bed, because then you're not fighting against gravity pushing down on you. You can put your hands on your rib cage, but think about breathing in for 4 and out for 8. When I send out the follow-up, I have about 7 other breathing techniques that I'll have at the end of it that you can look at, and you can read through those as some different ways to breathe and do that. Because we just want to find ways to pause. And sometimes the most dramatic thing we can do for our overall health and well-being is to take a pause, to take that second to wait, because we're not always reacting to things. We're going to say, I'm going to take a breath. I'm going to wait and think for a second. I'm not just going to respond. And that pause is some self-care that helps us to make sure we're looking inward and taking care of ourselves. Last big thing I want to talk about is sensory reset. I talked about going outside. I talked about being aware of what's going around, eating real food. This mindfulness activity is something you can use anywhere. And when we think about it, mindfulness is an overused term sometimes, and we're thinking it's about clearing our head out of everything and we never have any stress. Life would be boring without any stress. It's dealing with a balance so that we don't have too much stress. We want to figure out what's going on. So in mindfulness, it's more about being present in the moment. We're not doom scrolling on a screen. If I'm on my phone, maybe I'm intentional about what I'm doing. If I'm eating a meal, I'm not just mindlessly putting food or grabbing snacks. I can taste it. I understand what I'm putting into my mouth. And that's where mindfulness comes from. So a sensory reset is a 3-2-1 kind of game to play that I like. So if you go out for a walk, I'm going to take a walk, I'm going to be breathing, I'm getting movement, I'm breathing, but now I'm going to look around. What are 3 things I see? You know, I see a green tree, I see a blue car, I see a house that needs to be painted. What are 2 things I feel? I can feel the wind against my skin. I can feel my dog pulling on my hand on the leash as he's trying to get further away from me. What do I hear? I might hear the birds. I might hear, there's been people out in front of my house all day today doing construction. I might hear that. By grounding our attention and by focusing it, we're helping to be more mindful. When I'm eating dinner, what do I see? Oh wow, I see all the colors on the plate. I see that my kids didn't like their food to touch. I see that the vegetables are touching the protein. You know, I see, what do I see? What do I feel? I feel the texture of the food in my mouth. I feel the fork or the spoon in my hand. What do I hear? I can hear crunchiness because I have some raw vegetables in there. So you just kind of use this 3-2-1 activity to help to reset your neurological system. So it's just another way to bring us back and to ground us. You always have a choice. We don't need to, have to, or should do anything. Dirtiest words in the English language. But we have a choice. You don't have to do everything perfectly, but you do need to figure out, how do I want to spend my time? What is important to me? I can hear my dog because someone walked in front of my house. Small intentional choices repeated over and over again, that's what shape our health and well-being. Not big grand gestures, not New Year's resolutions where I'm going to lose 50 pounds. That doesn't speak to my soul. That doesn't give me a plan of action that I need to do. So I'm going to go back to my list that I talked about in the beginning. Simple things going on there. What are your areas that you struggle with? You know, do you not sleep well? You know, do you sit up at night on the phone and that keeps you from sleeping as well? Do you spend a lot of time sitting? Do you not get a lot of movement? Are you that mindless eater that you kind of, you know, are shoving things in that you don't even know what you're eating, or you're so rushed that you don't have time to plan and you're running through the fast food or going to a vending machine? What is it that might speak to you that you can do? This is not a complete list. These are just a couple of fun things that I thought were good. One of them is drinking water. Water is so important. We drink a lot of our calories in a lot of drinks that we have, and our body needs water to function. So it's kind of nice if I figure out, how do I add more water to my day? That's usually an easy path to have. I have a big jug in my refrigerator, and I know I have to drink through that in the course of the day. I can have my other things. Delaney's on the line knows that I am addicted to chai lattes that I make at home. I want 2 of those a day, but I can only have 2 of those if I've already had about 16 ounces of water before I go to those. So, you kind of find out what works for you. Even as an exercise physiologist, I have my toothbrush exercises. When I am brushing my teeth at night, I do little toe touches or no toe touches and work on my balance. I might be doing my teeth brushing and doing some of those rotational motions with one arm as I am brushing so that I can create that motion. So I find out how to move my body. For sleep, I put my technology down 30 minutes before I start my nighttime routine so I can get that screen time away from me, and I start decompressing and figuring out how I can get better quality sleep. So what in here is something you can think that you can be successful in doing today? And I ask you to look at the list. With a little show of hands, how many of you think there's something on here or something I mentioned today that you think you can start today? You think that, you know what, I can take 2 breaths extra during the day to de-escalate myself. I can drink an extra glass of water a day. Good, I'm seeing some hands go up. And that's really all I wanted to share with you today is moments of health are really how we build a foundation for a healthy lifestyle. No one needs to be perfect. It's okay to eat an Oreo cookie if you love it occasionally. You just don't want to eat the whole sleeve or eat them daily. It's okay to stay up late and to binge on a TV series, but it's not something you want to do on a regular basis. It's figuring out how to weave these things in and making sure you're always bringing in those healthy, positive things also. So I'm going to thank you all for listening to me today. And if anyone has any questions or any thoughts that they want to share, please type them into the chat. And as I said, I will get all of this out to you so you can have this list to look at, as well as some of the other breathing exercises. So thank you very much, and let me know if there's anything else I can help with. I know there's usually not too many questions when it comes to this. It's more about thinking about what's going on. So yes, if it comes in a box, someone said, maybe that's not the best thing to eat. Doesn't mean we can't eat things out of a box, but try and find things that only have that one ingredient. Well, thank you all. And we look forward to seeing you next month when we'll get to learn more about atrial fibrillation.